Welcome back to Bed Boys, your one-stop shop for all your energy drink reviews. I'm Christian,
I'm Brian.
and we are the Bed Boys. So today I at least got a good one in store for us. I'm sure Brian does as well. For a little context, back stateside, so that means I'm feeding, getting out all my energy drink. I'm fiending out on them. So it's been nice to be back in the States. Obviously, that's not the only thing, but I am enjoying the larger selection of drinks and just American luxuries in general. So I'm super excited for what I got today. I know it's a good one. It's going to be a good one. I haven't tried this flavor, but there's no way it can not be good. So
I have a really good one as well. I saw it and I needed to grab it specifically because we're close to like the holiday, Labor Day. So I'm gonna let you go first, or do you want me to go first? What do you think is
yeah,
gonna be a bigger reveal?
I don't know. We've done this brand. We haven't done this like kind of spin off of it. I don't think. Definitely not this flavor. I know that you've had this one. I haven't though, so I'll just get right to it here. So today I got the C4 Ultimate Energy, and this is the Arctic Snow Cone flavor. So I've had one of these before. I think I had the orange flavor, and that shit was electric. I know Brian said the Arctic Snow Cone is even better. So we've done a few C4s on this podcast. This is the Ultimate Energy. It's probably it's definitely their newer releases. But it has 300 milligrams of caffeine versus the 200 you find in a regular C4. And then it has a 3x tri-stim experience, as the can says. So zero sugar, as always, 5 calories, no grams of carbs. Don't know how that works. But yeah, 300 milligrams caffeine, no sugar, no synthetic dyes, if you happen to give a fuck about that. And this actually has, I believe it has a little bit of a nootropics, which is kind of what they marketed it
Isn't
as.
there isn't there beta alanine in the C4 Ultimate Energy drink too?
I think so. So I'm gonna read. So we got
Yeah.
the Tri-Stim experience. Okay, 300 milligrams of caffeine plus teacrine and dynamine is the ultimate triple threat. So I'm not even sure what that stuff is, but I'm assuming teacrine is maybe some sort of creatine. But
Teacrine is a green tea based green tea slow release caffeine. So it's
mm,
usually done in about 100 milligrams, which yields about half of whatever it is. So I'm assuming there's probably 250 milligrams of caffeine anhydrous and then 50
okay,
yielding for the teacrine for a slower release extended.
okay, nice. More you know. Supercharged energy. C4 Ultimate Energy is supercharged to go hard, just like you. Crack one open and get after it. And then bold flavor. Feel the cool rush of frosty berry and citrus swirl together with a thrilling hint of tart for the ultimate flavor experience. So yeah, I'm pretty excited for this one. Got sucralose as your main sweetener. Yeah, I like the can a little bit better with like the black
I like the
underlay.
black.
Yeah, and then that kind of light blue color is honestly one of my favorites, to be honest with you. Um, so yeah, I'm super excited. What do you got for us today?
We've also done this brand, not this flavor. Um, your old boss, my current boss, is a big fan of this brand. Um, I got the first form Screamin' Freedom.
Oh shoot.
So 200 milligrams of caffeine, natural from green tea. They have a mental focus blend, which is neurofactor, huperzine serrata, N-acetyltyrosine, B12 choline. They have a hydration blend in there with electrolytes, magnesium, potassium, and sodium. It's only 10 calories, but it's, three carbs in a can. Their amount per can is 1 gram of N-acetyl L-tyrosine, which is pretty good in that serving size. 10 milligrams of the huperzine serrata, the Neurofactor whole coffee, which fruit extract, which is a coffee arabica. Basically, not caffeine, but basically caffeine. And then caffeine from green tea, 200 milligrams, all white, simple can with a lot of like small details. If you like see it in like the lighting,
Hmm.
you can
I
see it as
catch a
the
little
light
bit
kind of
of it.
goes out. Yeah, it's just a tons of like carvings on there. Basically looks like very military-esque. Says boom on it, so the Costco guys will just be freaking out. Is it boom or doom? Double chunk chocolate cookie. Um, yeah, I'm hyped up for this.
Yeah, I remember
Should
we did the
we
first form the other time. We were actually really, really surprised by how good it
the
was.
tropical? We did it
Yes.
was like tropical something, and
Yeah,
it was
it
had
was
that
actually
like
really
nice
good.
light pineapple flavor.
Hmm.
That was honestly one of the most and this is like the same price. It was like 279 per can.
Yeah.
So I know we mentioned the price last time when we talked about the first form that when we did the tropical one, and I was like maybe I just got like a deal because it was a small gas station. I went to a different gas station this time, and they had this, and I was like, all right, so that's kind of like the bar of like what they're priced at for a 200 milligram caffeine drink that tastes pretty good. The can looks sick, has good quality ingredients. It's hard to kind of go wrong at the price of basically like a white monster now.
Exactly. Yeah, this one is a little bit more expensive. I think it was like 359 or something like that, which is obviously what you're going to get into when you get into that 300 milligram range, probably close to 350 or $4. So, but see how it tastes. Should we pop that
Pop
top?
that top. Oh, I'm not even being weird. You would love this one off of the smell alone.
What does it smell like? Is it like so is this like a bomb pop flavor type of deal? Like
I
Freedom
think
Pop?
I think it's like a bomb pop flavor. It's really, really, really strong on like if we go through like the red, white, blue on the bomb pop, very strong on the blue. Like
Okay.
it is identical to the smell.
Okay. Because
Um,
this I'm getting like a more of like a berry flavor or a berry smell at least. Um,
from what I
and it
remember with
says,
the C4 Ultimate, it kind of it reminds me of like is it Icy that has like the polar bear that's like surfing?
yep,
It reminds me of like the blue Icy.
man, can't go wrong with that. Let's take a sip.
Let's do this.
Oh yeah.
This kind of reminds me of that blue Icy too. Or honestly, this is a real poll here for this one, but Icy when they made their own version of like the push pops. Do you remember that?
I feel like I do.
They were like a little cone almost,
Yep,
and
I do
they
remember
had the
that.
red and the blue, and then you just squeeze it up. It tastes identical to the blue one of that.
Yeah,
Fucking good.
I'm getting a little bit of like berry in that, a little bit of citrus, like it said. So that's kind of nice. Um, Super sweet. That's one of the things I noticed a lot is like when I came back, the first energy drink I had was a sour pink lemonade ghost. And it just like I forgot how sweet they were. Like it was probably because I hadn't really been drinking a lot of them, really any of them for a
Mhm.
few months. Um, Drinking more just those sparkling ice and then coffee. But I forgot how like sweet these are.
Walk me through that first energy drink. I want to know what you felt like when you came back and you had like the first sour pink lemonade. Like, just give me that entire process. I know that was an electric feeling.
Oh yeah, I felt amazing. So I came back. So I got in late Sunday night. So I wasn't gonna have one then, but then went to bed, woke up the next morning, did some stuff, and then I was like, all right, I'm gonna go work out. So obviously I need some caffeine, and I happen to have a sour pink lemonade ghost left in my fridge from shout out to the Elon women's soccer team from the package they gave me before I left. So that was one of the ones that was left. And I was like, well, I have to get it started off right. Sour pink lemonade ghost, can't go wrong. I cracked it open as I was like starting my car, and it was just like the carbonation, like it's one of a kind. The flavor is obviously elite. And I was like, damn, like I forgot how like sweet these were. Like I feel like I got immune to them from having them like as often as I did, and then just not having them. But It was good, man. I definitely savored it. Yeah, it was good. I've had a few good ones so far. I've had one of those the C4 Smart Energies, which I hadn't tried before, and like the cherry berry lime. That one was really good.
Yeah.
Um, had a few had I had a bum energy yesterday. Had a root beer one.
What-
That shit was so gas. Um,
it,
that shit was gas.
it
Had
tastes just
a
like a mug root beer, dude. It's
I
so
know
good.
it's insane. Had a black cherry vanilla Gorilla Mind. That was freaking fire. Um, yeah, man, I've had some good ones. I do need to knock out some of the classics though. I gotta have a white monster here. That'll come at some point. I don't know if I should waste my time with a Celsius, honestly, but
Just for old time's sake, just
yeah,
have
I was
one.
gonna
So you
say that like there are a couple decent flavors that I don't mind, so I might hop
even
on
if
one of
it's not that
those.
good, even
Yeah,
if it's
just to
not that good,
say exactly. Um,
yeah.
I did have one of the original C4 in the Hawaiian pineapple flavor,
Oh yeah, dude.
and like
Was it the Hawaiian Punch one?
I think it was the Hawaiian. It was like a popsicle Hawaiian pineapple, so it was
Oh,
a popsicle
that
collab.
that's that's the one that I told you about that Maddie was drinking the other day.
Yes,
When they were doing their conditioning test.
yes, yeah,
Shout out Mad Dog. Shout out Mad
yeah.
Dog.
I think I that was also in that little care package. So it's lucky I had a little bit of stock, had some stocked up when I came home. But it was actually because remember we did the popsicle ones, they just weren't very good at all. Tastes like
Not good
cough
at all.
syrup. Wouldn't recommend. It
Yeah.
was the grape and the cherry. They were just a no
Yeah.
go. The Hawaiian one was a lot better. I don't know if I would like seek it out
Drink it regularly.
necessarily, but it definitely wasn't bad. So
C4 does have an actual Hawaiian Punch collab flavor too. Sorry, my mouth's not working. I'm just gotta let me just yeah, C4 has a Hawaiian Punch collab that tastes insane. It just tastes like carbonated Hawaiian Punch. I can't seem to find it everywhere. I don't know if it was like a limited run thing, but like they had a case of them at Vitamin Shop. Shout out local Vitamin Shop, let me win that prime cooler behind me. But um, they were like, "Oh, we have one case," and I was like, "Well, I'll get like one of them." And they're like, "Do you want the case?" And I was like, "How much is the case?" And they're like, "Well, it's on sale right now for like 24.99 or whatever." And I was like, "All right, well, I'll
oh
just get the
yeah.
case because it's 12 of them. If I like it, if I don't like it, I'll just put it in the cooler at Elon, and then like the guys will drink it." So I was like, "Fuck it." We housed it. They were gone in 2 days.
Jesus.
Yeah, dude, we housed them. They were so good.
Damn.
Nick took a sip and he's like, "This is lethal."
Kind of like you said with the blue popsicle and with the yellow starburst.
Oh, oh,
Yeah, I think one that I do want to try is that Ghost Welch's grape. I know they're not
I gotta get my
everywhere.
hands on that.
I
I
know
gotta
they're
get my
not
hands on
everywhere,
that.
but I would like to try one of
I'm,
those.
I'm thinking about like just I haven't purchased like I've bought like an energy drink here and there. Like I haven't bought any like supplements lately since like we had protein coming out the butt. Um, so I'm just like, do I just like put a ghost order together just for old time's sake? Just drop $100 and see what I can get out of it, and just be like, that was fun. Get the Welch's grape juice, maybe get like a little bit of protein or some creatine or pre workout or whatever. Maybe grab some sick gear since all my clothing, like when I moved, I cleaned out like all my closets and stuff. So all my, like I have nothing. If it's not like Elon or Team Builder, I have nothing in terms of
Damn.
clothes.
I just did that with a lot of my stuff too. I came back home. I'm like, yeah, I don't even live here anymore, but I have hella clothes, and I'm probably not gonna wear them. So just got rid of a bunch of them from like college and even some way back from like high school. I'm like, why do I still have this stuff? But
Yeah, it's you're like, am I holding on to this for like sentimental value? But like, I'm never gonna wear it.
facts. Like I work for a different place. Like I can't even wear it. Like unless it's like
Yeah,
I'm just chilling at home, and then what's the point? So
yeah. So I think I'm gonna clean out even a little bit more. I have like 2 bags of stuff that like suitcase kind of bags that I just threw clothes in and move it, which I finally got that whole place done and everything and turned the key in. You want to hear about the worst move out process ever? That I don't I don't remember who the rental company was. I told them I was like I'm moving out on the 31st. And technically that was like today was like is right something like that.
Yesterday.
No, that was yesterday. So I'm like I'm moving on the 31st like okay, you have a move out window between 8 and 12 or 12 and 4. And I was like 8 and 12 I want to be done with it cuz I want to watch college football in the afternoon. On the 15th they call me and the guy's like I'm at your house, can I do the walkthrough? I'm like what do you mean? He's like oh, you're moving out today. I was like no, I'm not. Like I'm still
2 weeks
living
from
there.
now.
Yeah, I'm like so he's like, "Oh, well, I'll call you in 2 weeks." I was like, "Sounds good." All of last week, get everything like completely moved out, clean the whole place. So like, I mean, there's some dust in some like closets and stuff, but like, place is clean. Waiting, waiting. Then they email me like 5 times. Your rent's due on the first. I'm like, no, it's not. I'm not paying rent for. I'm not staying there. And then they
Sorry about
bless you.
that.
Then they send me like a move out checklist, and I was like, okay, cool. And they're like, tell us where you put your keys. And I was like, okay, they're in the lockbox because I found the lockbox code. I show up on Saturday morning. I'm waiting around for like 4 hours, like an idiot. Finally, like, screw it. Like this guy never shows up. They're just like, and so I'm like emailing. Like I called like the number, and I'm like, is like no answer, no answer, no answer. I'm like, what is happening here? So I'm just like, screw it. I'll lock the doors. I'll put the keys in the lockbox. I'm going to work out. So I go there and do that. 2:30, 3 p.m. hits. No call, no text, nothing. I have no clue if this guy ever showed up and like collected the keys or not. So like, I have to like probably tomorrow or like Tuesday call and be like, did you guys ever come? Because I haven't gotten a hold of anybody. No one called me. I was supposed to have somebody meet me here to check this place out. So just up in the air. And then they're like, well, remember your rent's due. No, it's not. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I didn't re-sign a lease. I'm out. I am out of there. Those keys are in the box.
I feel like I have had a few, nothing like that, but it seems like there's always something when you move out. For me, it's been like fees for like, they find one thing that you left and you pay $50 for it. It's like, I had that a lot in college because, like you go,
They treat like they're looking for everything.
Exactly, and obviously, like if you go to a private school, they need that money because how many $1,000s in tuition you paid definitely wasn't enough. So it was always something, and like sometimes if you were like I would be like the last one to move out sometimes, and then like if your
then
roommates left shit, right? If your roommates left shit, and then it was like and then you all end up getting a fine, or you end up getting the fine. I remember like one time I left some like toiletries, like toothbrush, toothpaste, maybe like a razor, some tooth floss, like stuff like that. And like I got dinged like $50. I'm like, you threw my stuff away. Like all you had to do was like throw it in the trash. This. Yeah, I'm like I'm gonna have to pay the fine and then pay to get another replace all those things. So stuff like that. When Gabe and I both got new jobs and moved out of our apartment in North Carolina, like the same thing. Like, I took all my stuff. I think I left a bed that wasn't mine to begin with because I literally didn't have room for it. And that was really about it. And then we get fined for something about the stove, like, because me and Gabe both moved out, and then it was our other roommate. And he basically said, like, yeah, like they said the stove is like beyond repair. And I was like, what the fuck? Like the stove was working the whole time I was
Your
there.
stove was brand new.
Exactly. So it was like, and like eventually, like we were just like, you know what, fuck it, let's just pay and be done with this. And it was like,
that's what they do though, is they get you to the point where you're just like, I'll just pay if you just shut up and leave me alone.
Facts. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like I'm in a different fucking country. I'm obviously not gonna try come back and like try to argue this. Like, So yeah, it's always something with those. That's the thing about like renting. It's nice when you're there because like you don't have to worry about like if something breaks, you just call the person, they repair it. But then when you move out or like just little stuff like that, it's like this is ridiculous. But you don't technically own the place, so you kind of have to put up with the shit sometimes.
When I moved out from the like we lived in like a semi luxury, it was a luxury place, but you can all the luxury apartment type of stuff, it's like it looks really nice, but it's actually like just a cover on something that's kind of shitty. We cleaned everything. We even like paid because we had like there was a lady that lived in the building and she worked for the building that was also like a maid, and she would come clean our like deep clean our place for like $50 or whatever. So we like she used to come every 2 weeks, deep clean the whole place. So it was always spotless. It was amazing. I can't remember her name, but shout out to her. She was awesome, and she would have that place done up in like 3 hours. Um, but we had her come in again and do it again, so that way everything was spotless when we moved out. I left two blender bottles. I got charged $150.
Holy, yeah, like that.
And they
That's the
spit
stuff I'm
out.
talking about.
And, dude, I emailed them. I was like, "Why did I get charged $150 for like leaving stuff?" I was like, "Everything's taken out." And they sent me a picture, and they opened. It was like an open cabinet, and it was like my two blender bottles that I was like drinking water out of while I was there. And I was like, "That's what you charged $150? Like, you couldn't have just went like, he forgot it, throw it out."
Yeah,
Like, I get it if I like left trash everywhere or something, but like, come on.
yeah, that's the stuff that's ridiculous to me. It's like there has to be like yes, there's rules and
Make it
procedures, but
egregious.
like yeah, like that's a little bit too far. I'm trying to think what
Yeah.
else
Like,
because I remember.
I left
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I left light bulbs like in the like the utility closet, and I'm like, I guarantee like they're not mine. They were there when I moved in because they're like the spare bulbs for like all the like insert the little dome lights thing.
Right.
I just know that they're gonna charge me for that, and I'm just like, no, 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 those were there when I moved in. Those are yours.
I feel like with that stuff too, like the next person can just use them. Like your
Yeah,
light bulb's gonna go out at some point.
I thought about
Um,
leaving the lawnmower just because like, oh, you would have a lawnmower
exactly. Like
just because I didn't really have anywhere to put it here.
yeah, I remember when my last 2 years of college, I was an RA. Um, so we would, every time you go to college, you have to fill out like if you lived on campus, you'd fill out the like inventory of the room. So like if
Hmm.
something was broken when you moved in, you wouldn't get charged for it, but you have to like write it down, be super detailed. And we're like, and this was like, remember people would be like, even before I was an RA, I would like, all right, like writing stuff down, like trying to like think forward, like what am I gonna do that's gonna make this
Yeah,
look shittier?
there's a chip in the wall,
Yeah,
or the
exactly.
doorway's scuffed.
Because you know you're gonna do something rambunctious and end up like putting like a dent in the wall or something like that. Um, or just like I remember one of my roommates like they put like a hole in the wall or like scratches and they're going over it with like white out and stuff to like cover it up, just the stuff like that. Yeah, I remember that was bizarre. I had some
We
crazy
had
stories about being an RA. That was a fucking wild experience.
we had when we the apartment I lived in during like I had a roommate at the time. I just moved into a place with him, and it was during like the pandemic. We we were we had like this corner right when you walked in, and like you walked in, there was like a 3 foot wall, and then it opened up to this tiny like shotgun style little kitchen where it's just like back to back, and then there was this like little pillar. Well, this little pillar is such like in the way when you're moving in, everything bumps into it. But it was already kind of like beat up, and we noted it on there, and we didn't know what to do because like at the end of it, when we were moving out, like all the plaster and like the little like drywall on it was so chipped off. We just went and bought a like a mesh because he was like a handy guy too. So we just bought like a mesh corner, plastered it on there, puttied the whole thing, matched the paint, and we got the thing back, and they were like, "Did you fix up the place?" We're like, yeah, we just we saw some couple things, we just fixed it.
Damn. Yeah, I remember that because like, well, let me talk about like how badly some of
Yeah,
like the dorms. I
I
don't
was
know
gonna
how
say,
it
tell me
was
the
where
RA
you.
stuff.
Oh yeah, so yeah, I can talk about. Um, yeah, so I think it was my last 2 years that I was in RA. So one year, my first year I was in the sophomore dorms, and then my second year I went to the freshman dorms, which was even more interesting. So I feel like once you get into like how we had it where I went to school was like they made it really fucking hard to live off campus, obviously because like they want more money and like they could like kind of like slash some of your financial aid if you wanted to live off campus. It had to be like a like legit exception, like unless you were like a working adult, like I'm 28 and I'm going back to school, or like you have like a kid or something like that. Otherwise, like freshman dorms, sophomore dorms, and then apartments for like upperclassmen for the most part. Sometimes you could get into an apartment as a sophomore if like you were rooming with like a few other like upperclassmen, but for the most part, that was how it went. So I was in the sophomore dorms my first year. That wasn't as like eventful as the freshman dorms, but there was still like some stuff. I remember one time, and like obviously like if you've been to college, you know you have like your the RAs that like treat it like an Olympic sport and are like trying to follow all the rules to a T and just like probably need something else to do with their time. Um, and then you have like the polar opposite of like the RAs that like drink with their residents, even though they're like freshmen and stuff like that, just doing wild stuff like that. And then I feel like I was kind of in the middle, like was doing it because it was like good pay and like you get like your own room and stuff like that. Wasn't gonna like, I mean, I was obviously like busy too. I wasn't trying to make any more work than I had to for the most part. Like, hey, like if it's something ridiculous and I have to do something, I'll do it. But I'm not going to go out of my way to get kids in trouble. That was kind of the way I looked at it.
Just making more work for yourself.
Exactly. Like it's like, I know you're going to do this regardless. So let's just make it easier on everyone. So, but I remember one time, so you have to like do your rounds everyone would have like a day of the week and then would kind of alternate weekends, which that was probably the worst part because you had to stay up super late, or at least late for me. Like you have to do your rounds at like 7, 10, midnight, and then weekends, like, oh, you had to do like a 1 a.m. round too, stuff like that. So I remember I was on duty with like the like head RA for my like area, and she was a little bit more of a stickler. I remember we busted this one room and like it was we were about to leave, and then like someone like it was like pretty like standard, like we didn't like see any alcohol, so it's like, all right, sick, we're gonna get out of here like pretty quick. And then we were about to leave, and like one of the residents in there like accidentally like kicked their backpack, and we heard like a clink, and I was like, fuck. I
Like,
knew.
come on, kid, you had it. You were even in the
Yeah.
clear.
So yep, we had to pour out all that stuff, and like this I remember this one kid was really upset because he had like legit moonshine in there, and this like big like bottle that was like something you would see off of like moonshiners, and he was like super pissed, like, like my grandpa made me that moonshine. He gives me a bottle every year, and I only get one bottle. They threw it out. So, oh, that was funny. Um, but I feel like the more crazy stories was really when I got into the freshman dorms. So that was nice. Had my own room. It's crazy how like weird the rooms were shaped. Like I feel like none of them were shaped the same way. I don't know who builds
Ours
that
was the
stuff.
same way.
It
Ours
was
was the
like,
same exact way.
yeah, and like sometimes like because it usually it was like the same amount of people in each room, but like some people would have like three people in like a storage closet, and then sometimes you'd get three people in like a huge room. It's like you just get screwed or blessed based on like the chance of however you got your room picked for you. But yeah, that was pretty crazy. I remember we had, so obviously there's like shared bathrooms on each floor, and you have the stalls, and then you have like the toilet paper I don't even want to call it a dispenser, but it has like the plastic like cover where you house the
Yeah.
toilet paper. And one day we went in there and it was just like that was like torn off the side of the stall, like completely detached, and then there was like blood on the ground. It was the wildest. Yeah, I was just like, didn't even know what to think, and like we were going over it. Like I pretty much like asked like my boss. I was like, how does that even happen? Like, what do you think happened there? And he's like, uh. We think someone like stood on it, like tried to stand on it. So picture someone like standing on top of that for whatever reason. And then it was funny because I actually found out how it actually happened after the fact from like the kid who did it. It's a kid on the football team. I was like, yo, like this is like over with. Like, do you know anything about it? Like, I wasn't gonna tell anyone. And he's like, oh yeah, like I was like fighting this other kid. We were just fucking around. We were like drunk, and I shoved him in. And these were like O linemen, so they were a lot bigger.
Oh God, so
And
he's
he just
big.
shoved him in there, and like somehow it like got detached from the wall, and he like cut his arm on that thing, and that's how the blood got there. But I was like, so you just
Dude,
left it there? And he's like, yeah. Like I wasn't gonna tell anybody. That was
the
wild.
worst one. So our freshman dorm was above a. This is how bad it was. Like at our school, they really trusted the freshman boys. Our freshman dorm was above a children's daycare. But like, so you had like the staircase that went up, and then there was an elevator in the middle that led to like the lobby on each floor that had like a TV, like a lounge and stuff. But my first semester, I had a non like athlete roommate, and he was just like he was a theater kid. He would like just get in the middle of the room and start singing, and I was like, hey, yo, like, can you not?
Please stop.
Like it'd be like 11:30 at night, and I have like 5 a.m. Like I gotta be up for like football practice and camp and stuff, and this guy's just like, like this ripping. I'm like,
Singing.
yo, dude, you gotta shut up. And, and like, but I had like the room right by the staircase, and then like it was like a literally like a putt from the like bathroom. So I went to the bathroom one morning, like my freshman year. I think it was like after homecoming. And I don't even remember if I went out because I was probably too scared at the time because I was just like a little freshman, like didn't drink in high school and stuff. I go into the bathroom, there's puke and I mean when I say everywhere, there was three sinks, puke in every sink, puke in the two shower. There was two showers, puke in the two showers, one like stall, like urinal, puke in the urinal, and then I was like, maybe I'll just piss uh in the toilet then. Puke in one toilet, shit blood in the other, and then I like in the handicap one, there was puke on the back of the toilet, all over the walls, all over the floor. I was like, "What the hell happened?"
You know, I was thinking about that too. I remember there was a few times where like, and you walk into the bathroom and you know the smell immediately, and you're like, oh fuck, like
Oh,
just
it
it
just
just
hits you.
reeks. Yeah, it just reeks. And like I remember one time it was like in the stall and just everywhere. I'm like the sheer volume was just impressive. And I'm like
What
it
did you
didn't
eat?
exactly like it was like it didn't seem like they got any in the toilet, but they covered the whole floor. So I don't know what was going on there, but I was just like, like luckily I didn't have to clean it up, but like I'd always feel bad because like the custodians would have to clean that up, and like the freshman dorms were just ruthless. But yeah, and then it would just stink for like a couple days after. It was just fucking disgusting.
We
I
had
think
my my sophomore year. We lived in so like the way it worked for us was like regular dorms, like true style dorms, like your freshman year, your sophomore, junior, and senior year. They had like apartment style. And we lived off campus after my sophomore year with me and my like teammates and stuff. Um, but our sophomore year, we lived on the fourth floor, which is like the top floor, which is a pain in the ass because we lived in the middle and there wasn't necessarily a staircase to get down. You had to like walk to the front because it was like a big U. So you had to like walk to the end of the U, take either an elevator that took forever or a staircase, walk outside, and then walk back around to like the trash to like throw out the trash. So we made friends with the girls that lived in like the corner of the U right above the trash. And so we would like bring trash over to them, open their window, and just throw the trash out the window at at the garbage can. And sometimes like we had one where it just missed, it hit the side of the trash can and just blew up.
Yeah, I think speaking of elevators, that was what was not in like any of our dorms. It was crazy. Like I think there was only two buildings out of all like the housing units that had an elevator, which is kind of ridiculous. So like I think it was one of the freshman dorms and then one apartment and then everything else no elevators because I remember living on like I never lived on anything lower than the third floor. Like I was always on like third or fourth floor and just stairs every time. So like especially with move in too, oh, terrible. And then especially when you're an RA, you have to help with the move in. So like just carrying 7 fridges like up 4 flights of
Up and
stairs.
down the stairs.
Yeah, like that was yeah. So oh, I think the worst story I have from that is someone literally like this worse than puke. Someone just shit on the floor in the bathroom. Like just pooped on the floor.
Was it
And
like was it at least like solid?
yeah, it was a log. I was like, how do you I have to think it was on purpose. Because one, it was bizarre because it was in the girls' restroom. So I'm like, okay, girls don't poop. So obviously this had to be a joke. Like, so I refuse to believe that a girl did this. I'm like, did a guy just go in there and like shit on the floor and then leave? Like, that's a bold move. It was like it was one log just on the floor, and then another like half one like kind of like on the seat, and I'm like, how do you just not make it an extra foot? Like it just doesn't make sense. Like I had to believe that it was like some sick joke. And so yeah, there was that. And then of course you have to write an instant report. I wrote a hilarious instant report about that one. I was just like using every word in the dictionary for poop, like that, like feces, fecal matter, like, and then at the end, because yeah, exactly, like just trying to have fun with it, and because it was wild, because we never found out who it was. So at the last sentence, I was just like, well, don't know who the perpetrator was. It was a shit and run. And, yeah, that was. But it was wild, and like the custodian had to clean that up too. Yeah,
dude, that would be the worst job. Would be the custodian for like a freshman dorm.
oh, horrible.
They need to be paid double.
Exactly, like because it just gets.
You're never gonna have an easy day. It's never gonna be just like a random like, oh, I'll clean the sinks. It's all good. Like no, it's just that's not how it is.
Yeah.
Shit and run.
Yeah. Wild times in the women's bathroom. It's freaking crazy, man. It was like an all girls floor too. Like they would usually split the floors up like mostly girls or mostly boys. So it was like someone came to a different floor entirely. Unless it was a girl. I don't even want to think about that though.
Dude, you know what was weird? So I went my freshman year, I went to like one of my buddies like had some friends who went to U of M, and I went to their dorms, and it was all just like it'd be like, oh, your neighbor might be just 3 girls, and I was like, this is because my school was like a Christian school too, and like I was like, this is the weirdest thing in the world. Like you guys don't all have to be in like separate buildings or separate floors, and they're like, no, like there's a men's bathroom and a women's bathroom right here, and I was like, it was like so mind blowing to me. That I was like, but like I was just like I couldn't figure it out. I was like, how does that work? And they're like, well, they live next door and we live in this one. And I was like, yeah, but how does that work? I was like, what happens like when they go? Yeah, I was like, what happens when they go to the bathroom and like have to go shower and stuff? They're like, oh, they just go.
Yeah, that was it was interesting my last year there because I was in the freshman dorms, but like they were trying out this new. I don't know if they're still doing it, obviously, but like I was on the third floor. Yeah, the third floor. So I was on the top floor, and it was in the freshman dorms where they were trying something new. So they had some extra rooms. So they made half of the floor was freshmen, and then half of the floor was like single rooms. So like people that wanted to get their own room, but they were all like upperclassmen, like sophomores, juniors, seniors. So people that like, so it was like this weird like dynamic. Like one side of the hall was like rowdy freshmen, and it was mostly athletes, and then the other side was like people that like paid extra to get their own room because they just wanted that solitude, and they were, I would like never see those people, and then the people on the other side, like the freshmen, would always be super loud. It was a really weird, like it was kind of bizarre. Um,
It's like going to the other side of the tracks.
yeah, like I just some of those people I just never saw. Like I don't even know if they actually lived there or not. It was wild. Like they just I never saw them. Um, and then the other people just would always be super loud and would never shut up. So it's weird.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was weird.
You should just pay them like a couple of bucks. Be like, can you go do my rounds for me? I want to get some sleep tonight.
Honestly, yeah, that was definitely the worst part of that job. Just walk around. I remember I'd take like a nap in between rounds.
I can't believe you were an RA. We had some weird RAs when I was in school. Like,
Yeah, there was definitely some characters on that staff for sure. Because I feel like usually like at least where I went to school, there weren't a ton of like athletes that were RAs because they were I don't know.
busy.
Yeah, but like I was like, can't be that bad. And it was like the best paying job on campus at least. So, but yeah, there wasn't. So it was usually just people like I was like, damn, I didn't even know you went to school here. I didn't even know like you existed, but you're an RA. Like, okay,
Dude, ours were like there was one of them, he wasn't on my floor. He was really cool. Dude had like he was like a junior or something like that, had his girlfriend, so like they would always just be hanging out in his room. He didn't care about anything. Like he caught my buddies like drinking and he was just like, "Hey, don't." And then he just walked away. Whereas like mine my freshman year, he was all right. He was on the baseball team and I don't think like a lot of the guys liked him. Um, and he was just like all the time he would be like knocking on your door and he's like, ah, it's a little loud in here. I'm like, dude, I'm playing Xbox.
yeah, that
Like
was
that's
that was the
literally
thing with
it.
me is like, yo, like if there's not like a real reason, there's no point. Like if it's obnoxiously loud, I might say something, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah, if you're blaring music at 2 in the morning, like, all right,
Yeah,
like don't
but
do that.
like other than that, like I'm like, yo, I have better things to do with my time. Like,
Yeah, figure it out, brother.
yeah. So, man, wild times, wild times. Did you ever have you had did you ever have a work study at college? You said you worked for admissions, right?
I worked for academic advising, and that was the
Okay.
best. That was the best job. So like I had like 5 or 6 jobs in college, and I would probably try to hold like 4 at a time. So I worked at GNC when I was in college. I worked as a waiter at the same time, and then during the school day, since it's such like big block stuff, I would have like 2 classes per day, and I would like sandwich them so they're just back to back. And then the whole morning I would just work at academic advising, which basically I'd walk in, sit at the desk. If someone like came, everyone always tried to do drop-ins, and I would just be like, "Hey, no, like you got to have a meeting. I can schedule for you tomorrow or later today." Which I probably see like 3 people all day, and then I would just sit there and do homework. So all my homework was done before whenever, and then every time too, like I had like immediate access because my academic advisor was like right next door to me. So I would just walk in there and be like, "Hey, like I was thinking about this class. What do you think?" And she's like, "Oh, did you register already?" Like I was like, "No, registration is not open." She's like, "Don't worry about it. I'll get you registered." And she just registered me before everybody else. Like it
Damn.
was so, and I
That's
got
sick.
paid like, and this was in 2015, 2016, 2017, 18. So like before like everyone was getting paid like 15 an hour. So I was making like 15, 16 an hour at academic advising, like just pulling money for that. It
Damn.
was so sick.
Yeah, I remember I had like four work study jobs my last year, which is crazy because like I still only pulled in like $1,000 a month or 1,200 just because the work study
Like the
was like
limit,
yeah, well that and like the minimum wage in Iowa is like 7.25. Like it hasn't moved in however many years. And obviously like
40.
yeah. So like most of them like I had the RA and that paid pretty well, but then I'd work like these other like what was I did taught like fitness classes. I'd get paid like $10 a class. Worked in the weight room, obviously. That paid like $8 an hour, 8.25. But there was a limit on like the hours because like you only get so much money allotted. And then I worked in like our sports science lab, like just like taking inventory of like the equipment, like if it needed to be like cleaned or like tested or like sent back for like replacement, just stuff like that. So like it felt like I was doing a lot, but then I was only making like $1,000 because they just paid so shittily. But it was nice to not have to like leave campus, even though I could have made way more money just working at like Walmart, literally. But
Yeah.
that's kind of what you get
We
with work
had
studies.
my like girlfriend in college, she was a TA and she got paid bucks to be a TA. She went to University of Minnesota and she was making so much money from that. Like I think she got paid like 20 an hour or something like that. And she's like, yeah, I just have to grade a couple papers. And I was like, so how does that work? She's like, I just read them and if it looks good, I just give them an A or a B.
Damn.
I'm like, that's what you're doing? And then she was like a research assistant, which so if people are unfamiliar with like University of Minnesota, they have a Minneapolis campus and a St. Paul campus. The Minneapolis campus is like what everyone sees as U of M. And then the St. Paul campus is like 3 miles away and it's like positioned. So like if this is like Minneapolis campus, you go up and then this is like all neighborhoods and like kind of like bars, restaurants, like upperclassmen typically rent like houses from like people in the city, like not owned by the campus. And then over here is like St. Paul campus, which very tiny, like, and I mean tiny, tiny, like almost as big as like the same size as like the school I went to. But like it's freaking gorgeous. And it's like where a lot of like their research is done for like the environmental sciences. So she worked in like a butterfly lab there and she would just like go over there on like Saturdays, run like a couple of stuff in their lab. And I just went with her a couple of times because I'm like, I just want to see this stuff. It looks kind of cool. She was making bank on that too. I was like, this is how do I get that? Like, y'all motherfuckers, you guys
I
hiring?
want that.
That's mine now. Made like a sick gym over there too. Like my roommate, he went to U of M and he's like, "Oh, I got a gym membership at that one because no one ever goes to it." And we went in. I went in with him one time. It's like nice freaking gym. There's a basketball court, full weight room, like bunch of like Rogue equipment, everything like that. And he's like, I was like, "Is it always this empty?" He's like, "Dude, I've never seen it full." I was like, "Do you go at the same time?" He's like, "No, I like just go when I can." And like it's no one's ever there because it's like the forgotten campus by like the student population.
That's wild.
But they have like all the only people who like live on that campus are like the farm guys and like the farm frats. But they had the farm frat at U of M is insane. They had like it was like a 9, 10 bedroom house fully remodeled so it looked like it kind of looked like Nick's house, like that like farmhouse style. You walk up, there's this like digital like iPad on the door that like they press their keys into, scan their face, and it unlocks the
Jesus.
door. And I'm like, that's a frat. I was like, I've seen frat row. Like, I know what those houses look like, and it is not nice. And they're like, no, like they're not like that. Like they just kind of all live there.
Yeah, that's wild.
Did you ever
Never really
have? You never lived off campus, right? You were because you were
no.
an RA your sophomore or your junior and senior year.
Yeah, no, I never lived off campus. Like I said, it was
I,
fucking they made it fucking hard to live off campus. And like if you did, like you basically like had to they were gonna make you pay for the on campus and then be like, all right, like You can live off
Go
campus, but
buy
you're
it.
gonna pay. Yeah, you're gonna pay for two houses basically. So
That's
just
insane.
yeah, it was wild.
I think we got lucky because we were like in the city, so like so many people were just gonna go off. I lived in like my junior year in college, lived in this like disgusting, rotted like trap house. It was nasty. Like I've told you the stories about that, but like we had like one of my roommates like hosted a party and some dude like built like like the cherry bombs that are like firecrackers and shit. We
Mm.
had like it our backyard looked like the fucking moon landing because there was just craters from like kids throwing that in there. We lived like 5 blocks from campus, but like we lived like a block away from like the bar that everyone went to, which like when we were able to drink, it was kind of nice because you just walk over there and you didn't have to worry about it. I remember one time, like my senior year, we finished all of our finals and we didn't know what to do. So like we just went up on our roof and just drank on our roof and just like staring at cars going by for like hours on end.
Damn, good times.
Wild times. One would even say crazy times.
Exactly,
Uh,
man. What are you thinking about? What do you think? Should we give these bad boys a rating?
I'm thinking so. I don't know about you, but I'm empty here.
Yeah, I'm like, this is an interesting flavor because it's like it's good. I don't know if it's because like the sweetness. Like I haven't like gassed it. It's like something that I've just been like slowly sipping on, which is kind of nice. But
Hmm.
I'm definitely feeling it, Mr. Krabs, from the energy. Um, so for me, obviously the can I think looks a lot better than the original C4. I do like how they
Hmm.
format it. Like this color just looks sick with the black and that light blue. Obviously, the price is a little bit steep, but I think it's fair for what you're getting. 300 milligrams of caffeine. You're not really going to find much more than that in an energy drink, to my knowledge, for the most part. Um, Zero sugars does kind of have that extended release, which is nice. I'm feeling pretty smooth now. Nothing super jittery. The flavor is good. It's very sweet. Um, Obviously, like a snow cone, just super like sugary. It's berry with a little bit of citrus. Overall, I would say with price, the can, the taste, the ingredients, I would give it probably it's pretty good. I think I would drink it from time to time. Not sure if I would necessarily like seek them out a ton. Again, I feel like I don't really see these a whole lot of places. Like you can probably buy like a case on Amazon or something like that. But I happen to see this at like a gas station. I think the first one I picked up was at Walmart, but I'd give it like a solid 7.4, 7.4. So not my favorite C4, but I would say ingredient wise, it definitely surpasses. But there's definitely some better flavors out there for C4, like some of the Starburst ones, Blue Bombsicle. Um, so yeah, that's my take on it. Solid.
I hate that you said 7.4. Um,
Is that what you were gonna say?
so I really like it. It's good flavor, a little sweet, where I like a little bit more of like the tart, like the citrusy kind of flavor.
Hmm.
Um, can is sick. I think First Form does a very simple, like very clean can, the way they always do it. The American flag looks sick on the inside too. Shout out America. Uh, um, ingredients wise, this is a stellar energy drink. Like 200 milligrams of caffeine, the tyrosine. You have the huperzine, and you have the like whole coffee arabica. Like your ingredient profile is awesome as far as an energy drink goes that isn't necessarily like a pre-workout energy drink. This is almost as good as you can get, maybe aside from like a Gorilla Mind or like a Ghost Energy. The price, also you have the electrolytes too with the and the magnesium in there. Price wise, 279 a can, like that's
Okay.
hard to beat. Um, my one thing is just it is a little sweet. I think if you like sweet things, you'll love this. I personally, I think the pineapple one is a little bit better because I like that pineapple kind of had a little bit more tart, like
Mhm.
not sour, but like that little tartness to it. I was going to give it a 7.4,
Okay.
which is why I was like, man, he kind of took my rating. It just feels like a copycat of him, but it's a solid drink. I don't know if I search out this flavor, but I have yet to be disappointed with a first form energy drink in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. I do think that that's interesting because I feel like before I really liked the super sweet drinks, and now like coming back, I feel like I would like a little bit more of the tart. I think that's why I think the sour pink lemonade does a good job of that. It's super sweet, but there is a little bit of tart. But yeah, that's interesting because I know that you definitely like the more tart flavors. I'd be interested to taste like I wasn't a
I
big
would
fan
love
of
to.
these.
I
I
was going
wasn't
to
a
say I
big.
would love to.
Go ahead.
You go ahead.
I wasn't a big fan of like the Ghost like Warheads flavors because they were like a little
Hmm.
bit too sour. But I'd be interested to see if I like those a lot more now.
I think after this, we need to do a retest on an Alani new flavor for you
Oh, because
because
those are super sweet.
I guarantee you give it a lower rating than your original than when we did this.
Yeah, I could see
Because it
that.
was like now that you're kind of like your palate's changed a little bit based off of like what you said, like that cherry slush, I feel like you're gonna not like the way you did. Like I think what I give it like a 2.8.
Yeah, and I give it like a high 7, like a 7.8 or something like
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
yeah.
I think I would agree with you on that because it's nice because I'm not like gassing it, but it is pretty sweet. I definitely wouldn't want it any more sweet than this.
I'd be very interested. Plus, I'd love
Yeah.
to see you do like the lemon lime or like the orange flavor of like the bum energy. I feel
Mm,
like now that you've kind of like I said, kind of changed your palate on like what you're looking for. I think you give those a higher rating based off of that.
right. Yeah. It's that coffee, man. Changes your
Like
palate.
coffee,
It's that
it
black
does.
coffee. It's that mud.
You got to have that mud, dude.
All right, guys. Well, that's all we got for this episode. That was the C4 Ultimate Energy Arctic Snow Cone flavor. Got the first form, free Screamin' Freedom Energy. Yeah, leave any comments down below. Energy drinks or really anything, protein bars, supplements you think we should try on the podcast. I have slowly started uploading episodes to Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can catch us on there. So that's good. Those will slowly be kind of trickling in. I know those are probably a little bit more popular platforms for podcasts than just YouTube. So stay tuned there. Have a few episodes that kind of got lost in transit when I took the new job. So maybe some lost files coming up there quick. So that should be good. And bevboys.com for the merch, shirts, hoodies. Go grab one if you would like. Support the boys.
BevBoys.tv on Instagram, posting some short form content on there as always, and you'll see our tags when we do post. It is at bshukoski SZUTKOWSKI and
French _ fit40. So follow us on there. Again, we're posting a lot more, just kind of like short stories of what we're drinking. Might do a little like short review of what I'm having throughout the week. Maybe post some memes. Who knows? Got the meme lord here, so it's always a good
that's
time.
what I am.
So
Always here, always not going to go there. Yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Thanks again.
peace.
Peace.